Just by looking around this landscape, I hope you can get a real feel for why it is that planetary scientists and astrobiologists like myself really want to come to the Atacama to do our field work. This is a barren, desolate landscape, and you could really convince yourself that you were on Mars, that you were walking across the Martian landscape. It looks just like this. But in particular, the Atacama Desert is useful for astrobiology and understanding about the possibility of microbial life on Mars, because this desert is one of the oldest and driest deserts anywhere on the Earth, and therefore, in that respect, reproduces the conditions that exist on Mars, where it's also exceedingly dry. Any life that can survive here in the Atacama, and that's what this research trip is all about finding these extremophile, those very hardy bacterial cells in the soil or living inside the rocks to protect themselves here in the Atacama, to try to understand what life on Mars would also be like. What kind of survival tricks would it have to employ to survive the very dry conditions on Mars? What I've got here is a sample that I found yesterday when we were exploring, and this might not look like much, but this is a really exciting, very interesting little piece of rock. This is a piece of quartz, and when you pick it up and turn it over, you see the underside of this rock is absolutely encrusted with this green, which is cyanobacteria. These are simple bacterial forms of life that grow by the energy of sunlight. And what the cyanobacteria are doing here is using that piece of quartz in the very, very dry desert soil to provide microhabitat that is much, much more clement for living in than the desert as a whole. Because you can concentrate a little bit of moisture underneath the quartz here. But more importantly, the quartz, which is quite a translucent rock, allows just enough sunshine to shine through it that the green cyanobacteria can still grow by that light, but the quartz blocks the ultraviolet radiation. So it's almost as if the cyanobacteria are using this mineral as a kind of natural sunscreen, as an ultraviolet shield to protect themselves from this really harsh desert environment to survive in it. I'm really looking forward to getting this back to the UK, back into the labs, where I can use Raman spectroscopy and infrared spectroscopy and a whole bunch of other instrumentation and bits of kit to study this cyanobacteria, to study the signs that this rock has been colonized, that it's got life on it, and therefore hopefully trying to understand how we might be able to find similar signs of life on Mars. This is a really neat little piece of rock here.